Why were you bullied?
I was bullied as a kid because I was overweight and I was tall and I didn't fit into the demographics around me.
First of all, I'm a twin, and when we were born, both of our legs were born inwards like this. So if you've ever seen those little chicken wind-up toys that walk across each other like that, that's how we walked. And it was from 5th grade onward. It's the same girl all the time. She asked us if we were retarded because of the way we walked.
I was basically bullied because I had a really strong accent. I was overweight for my age, and I basically spoke very, very little English. It was basically some of the higher classmen in my middle school class, basically some of the 8th graders, some of my so-called friends who talked behind my back.
A group of friends that I had in high school would take turns ganging up on one another.
More likely I was probably bullied in high school because of, well, I'm gay, and it pretty much probably showed when I was in high school, so I would assume that that was why I was bullied. It probably started when I actually came back to public school in the 5th grade because all of a sudden the kids found out I was taking dance class.
Because I was shorter than everybody and I looked more mature for my age.
Well, when I was in high school, I was really skinny and like anorexic even looking. So people would call me twig and what's up stick and hey, careful, don't step on that crack, you're gonna fall through it.
I wasn't really bullied like I think a lot of people think about being bullied. I was more picked on for being really shy.
You know, really because I wasn't like everybody else. I was more of an artistic kind of guy. I was in the band, I was a musician, I sang, and it kind of made me a target.
Well, I was teased a lot because I was so fair-skinned and I had lots of freckles, and so I got called things like Spotty Dotty and Casper the Friendly Ghost.
One, I talked a lot of noise, a lot of mess. Two, I was a pretty good athlete in the neighborhood, so I was always trying to compete. And then when I did it, I would usually beat them. And so they figured that because they were bigger and what have you, they would try to bully me around the other way, physically.
Growing up, I was always the fat kid. Okay. When I was in elementary school, I moved from district to district quite a bit. That moving, I thought differently than a lot of the kids, and I wasn't shy about saying that. When they did pick on me, it messed with me. I couldn't hide my emotions, so I was an easy target. From elementary school through high school, I mean, it never really stopped for me.
There was a young lady. I was never guilty of picking on her myself, but what I was guilty of was never standing up for her. I would laugh with the crowd, I would laugh at the jokes that they made because I knew if they were picking on her, they were picking on me. And I didn't have the confidence to stand up for her. And I wish now that I had felt strongly and good enough about myself that I could have risked that and said, you know, that's not cool, leave her alone. And just been her friend, because I know it had to hurt, and I know that going through those young years without friends and with people picking on you all the time is terrible.
Were you ever a bully?
In a way I will admit that. A little bit of just, there's no power, you know, like strength, or your words are a bit more, you know, the damage you can cause with certain words to certain people. It may seem like a good idea to be a bully to somebody at first, but after a while, it's not, because you have to put yourself in their shoes. How it feels to be bullied verbally, physically, emotionally, mentally. It's not the best or positive way to encourage somebody to grow up.
How did you overcome it?
I became very quick-witted.
I took what I wasn't given and then I turned it around into humor, and so I tried to diffuse the situation with humor myself.
It started getting kind of hard for me to actually talk to anybody, so people started talking to me. They started becoming more of my friends. They started, you know, telling me they weren't the only ones. So we formed like a little group of friends that talked about our problems. Little by little, we would walk each other to the halls. We would walk each other to our classes. We were basically a little group of outcasts. And no matter what happened, we would always stick together. If one of us was down, we would all show up or gather a teacher and follow, you know, get a teacher to actually walk with us to our classes and all that.
Well, talking to my mom and talking to other friends that I had outside of school.
I just accepted myself as who I am. I didn't really care about what people thought anymore, and I just went about my own life and decided, who are these people? I'm never going to see them again.
I started going to counseling and they helped me out write stuff in journals. And I would give my journals to my counselors and they would give it to like teachers. So teachers found out about it and they took me out of those classes and put me in different classes, and I got along with everybody in there.
So I was fortunate to have that group of friends that, you know, reminded me that I wasn't as bad as these people were saying I was.
It kind of started to slightly go away because I guess my physical stature at the time, I started getting a little bit bigger and stronger and what have you. I had a support system that helped me through that, mom and dad.
I'm not sure I did. You know, I'm still here, but I'm still dealing with it today. 3 different periods of life was suicidal, was upset, was antisocial, but I managed now, growing up, I've rechanneled those negatives into making sure it doesn't happen to other people.
Do you have any advice for kids being bullied or in similar situations?
This too shall pass.
Find someone that you're comfortable speaking with and then confide in them as much as you're willing to do so.
It may seem like you're the only one, but you're not.
Be yourself, you know, be true to what you know is right. Everyone needs to know that they belong or that they're welcome in any situation.
There are plenty of people out there that have been in their shoes. It's a matter of having the courage to come forward.
Well, talk to somebody. I mean, if you bottle it up, eventually it's just going to explode.
For the most part, it doesn't really matter what other people think as long as you're happy with yourself.
It's going to get better. I mean, it's going to get better. This is not the pinnacle of life, you know, and you're not defined by what other people say about you. You know, find positive things to do and positive people to be with.
You just gotta stay strong and stay through it, and eventually, it'll take care of itself.
Even if you're not being bullied, but you see somebody being bullied, do something about it.
People will forget what you say. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.